In this long pandemic season, we are going into the holidays now, and this week is going to be Thanksgiving. So I have a simple question for everyone. Are you grumpy or are you grateful on Soul 02? Welcome to Soul 02. This is the podcast that's putting the oxygen back into the Christian life, one soul at a time. And we are talking about this simple question. Are you grumpy or are you grateful? Grateful as a person during this season. There's so much to be disappointed about this year. We lost so many things. I was talking to a graduate recently who was very disappointed and felt ripped off because their graduation was all done online. And I can't blame the young kid. But let me just say this. A person who has become grumpy has become incapable of any sustained level of joy. And somewhere on the journey, a grumpy day became a grumpy lifestyle, coloring the way that they see the world. And in the pandemic, many of us are facing that possibility that we're wondering if this bad mood we've been in is going to become our only mood for the days and years to come. But I have good news for you that all seasons end, and it doesn't have to be true, especially when you have God. There are those who see life in two different ways. One counts their blessings, the other counts their burdens. And this is the difference between someone who's grumpy and someone who is grateful. And according to researchers at UC Berkeley, gratitude can do wonders for the human brain, as long as it doesn't fade away when Thanksgiving ends. The point is that you have to continue to develop a grateful spirit over all things. Researchers are finding that individuals who exhibit and express the most gratitude are happier, healthier, and more energetic than people who don't. A report found that grateful people report fewer symptoms such as headaches, stomach aches, nausea, even acne, and spend more time exercising. Their conclusion? The higher level your gratitude is, the greater sense of wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation you will have for life and for yourself. So gratitude is more than a thankful mood that happens Thanksgiving. It's a skill that you must practice. It's an attitude you must learn every day. It is practiced not by only exercising it when things are good, but especially when things are bad. And this long season has taught us that we can either be grumpy, or we can be grateful. And one way to practice is make a list. Martin Seligman, a researcher and teacher at the University of Pennsylvania, he developed an inventory which allows people to write down the good things that they're thankful for. And he noticed that when an individual had an insufficient appreciation of good events and an overemphasis on bad experiences, it greatly undermined their peace, their contentment, and their satisfaction with life. One of the exercises was nicknamed Counting Your Blessings, which comes from Christian culture. And students were asked to write down 5 things for which they were grateful 1 week for 10 weeks in a row. So they're making it a daily culture. Students reported feeling less stressed, more content, optimistic, and less satisfied, or rather more satisfied with their life. What's my point? Gratitude has its benefits. Number one, it disarms your complaining spirit. We all complain sometimes, and we get into this rut of self-pity and anger and resentment. And I love a story John Maxwell told. He told the story of a Peanuts cartoon character, Snoopy, that he sees that everyone in the family is inside the house and they're enjoying Thanksgiving dinner while he only receives dog food. How about that, he thinks to himself. Everyone is eating turkey. What do I get? I get dog food. So he walks to his doghouse and he climbs on top and he thinks, and suddenly something occurs to him. Of course, he said, it could have been worse. I could have been born a turkey. And that's a beautiful way of just making the point. There's always something for you and I to be thankful for. Tim Keller put it beautifully. If you think your life is in trouble, he says, you are worse off than you ever dared to imagine, but God loves you more than you ever dared hope. So your greatest ally in this season when you're in the pit of despair is gratitude. It's finding ways to be thankful. But gratitude doesn't just disarm your complaining spirit. It connects you to God and to other people. The ungrateful tend to isolate themselves, but the grateful tend to spread it to others and love on them and lift them up. And that's why it's important that you are grateful, because it connects you to others and to God. And when you're thankful to God usually, right? When people say, thank God my trip was safe. But thirdly, it reshapes your view of the world. You can view the world either as a cesspool of hopelessness, ruled by evolution, where there's no hope and that life is nothing but chance and random and just why, what's the point in living? So let's live in debauchery till we die. Or you can say there's a purpose in this world because God created it. What you focus on has the power to shape the way you see the world. And there was an experiment called the Tetris Experiment, where college students played it for hours, the game Tetris, and results long after they stopped playing, they reported that they saw these triangle shapes and everything, because, in Tetris, there was all these triangles. And that happens to us sometimes when we focus so much on the darkness of the world and hopelessness. All we see is triangles. We don't see what God is doing and the good that's coming in this season. Focusing on your failures, on your troubles, your tragedies, your mistakes, your expectations that have gone south, and what God hasn't done is no different than playing Tetris and seeing only triangles. But again, gratitude can only be seen or appreciated in dark times. And think about the first Thanksgiving feast in Plymouth Rock, when they shared a meal. And I can't pronounce the Indians that were there. They're Wampanoag, I think you pronounce it Wampanoag. But it was more than an ideal portrait of gratitude. In Puritan tradition, calling it the Feast of Thanksgiving was a time of acknowledging a good gift from the Lord. And they came through much, much hardship to get there, and yet they were thankful. Yet this feast happened after more than half their party had died. Think about it. More than half of them were lost on the journey. And after they landed, many succumbed to diseases, and yet they were thankful. So what are 4 quick ways that we can exercise gratitude today? First, see it. See it. Even if you're in a pit where there's no light, there has to be something you are grateful for. Don't focus on what's wrong with the world. Focus on what's right with the world. Focus on what you can't see, that there's something happening. God is always doing something awesome behind the scenes. What your mind fixates on colors your world, whether good or bad. But second, write it down. No matter how small or insignificant, write it down. Many of us keep journals. I've kept journals in the past. Right now, my journals are kind of my sermons. When I'm grateful, I just write it down and preach it and speak it and share it with people wherever I go. But write it down. No matter how small it is, write it down. There's something about putting it to paper that gets it out of you and that becomes more and surpasses where you're at, no matter how hard it is. It makes your intention to be grateful, official, and certified in a sense. In fact, an assignment was given to Berkeley students to keep gratitude by writing down everything for which they were grateful. The students became tougher to face life's challenges and were less likely to be stressed out because of this exercise. But don't just see it, don't just write it down, but share it. Share it with somebody else. There's something about testimony that when you testify to somebody else about what God has done for you, about how good God is, about the hope that is in the world that God wants to create, there's something about that just changes the atmosphere. Think about the people in your life, your family, your friends, your co-workers. How many are struggling and hopeless? Tell them your story. Revelations 12:13 says that the word of their testimony had overcoming power. There's something about when you share your gratefulness that disarms people's grumpiness. In sharing, you encourage not only yourself, but those around you. Number 4, as we finish this today, practice it. Practice it. Somebody once said Thanksgiving was never meant to be shut up in a single day. What a beautiful way to put it. That we're not to just be thankful in a few days when Thanksgiving happens. We're to be thankful every day, because there's always something not to be thankful for. So we have to be deliberate about it. In doing so, we're setting our focus to believe the best instead of the worst. In hard times, we are thankful. We're grateful. We're grateful in hard times because God is faithful. Even though we've lost our job or lost something, or maybe the election didn't happen the way you thought it should, it doesn't matter. God's kingdom is still coming. God is still in charge of the world. He still sits on his throne. And even with people you don't like or hurt you, be thankful that God put them there, because they're the sandpaper that makes you grow. They're the people who drive you to your knees to seek God concerning them. So don't just say God punished us. Pray for them. Pray for them. Pray that God blesses them, and you watch how he transforms their life. So practicing gratitude creates a gratitude bank. The more thankful you are, the more your heart changes, the more your personal atmosphere changes, and the more you change the atmosphere around you. Studies show that people who have gone through trauma have greater resilience against post-traumatic stress disorder if they learn gratitude. There's something about gratitude that defeats grumpiness and unfaithfulness. And I close with Psalms 37:25, which David wrote when he was old, and it was beautiful. He said, I was young and am now old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken, or their children begging for bread. So I hope this podcast blessed you today. If it did, if you found it of value in your life, please subscribe to us and hit a like, and check out our website, soul02.com. And until next time, God bless you. Great to be with you.